Hey guys, welcome and welcome back. So we are going to do some movies with some popcorn and some Halloween stories. So stay tuned. The Big Toe, from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark by Elvis Sharps. A big boy was digging at the edge of the garden when he saw a big toe. He tried to pick it up, but it was stuck to something. So he gave it to a good hard jerk, and it came off in his hand. Then he heard something groan and scamper away. The boy took the toe into the kitchen and showed it to the mother. "It looks nice and plump," he said. "I'll put it into the soup and we'll have it for supper." That night his father carved the toe into 3 pieces, and they each had a piece. Then they did the dishes, and when it got dark, they went to bed. They both fell asleep almost at once. The boy fell asleep almost at once, but in the middle of the night, a sound awakened him. It was something out in the street. It was a voice, and it was calling him. "Where is my toe?" it ground. When the boy heard that, he got very scared, but he thought, "It doesn't know where I am. It never will find me." Then he heard the voice once more, only now it was closer. "Where is my toe?" it ground. The boy pulled the blankets over his head and closed his eyes. "I'll go to sleep," he thought. "When I wake up, it will be gone." But soon he heard the back door open, and again he heard the voice. "Where is my toe?" Then the boy heard footsteps move through the kitchen into the dining room, into the living room, into the front hall. Then slowly they climbed the stairs. Ooh. Now they were outside his door. "Where is my toe?" the voice said. His door opened, shaking with fear. He listened as the footsteps slowly moved through the dark toward his bed. Then he stopped. "Where is my toe?" the voice groaned. Then jumped at the person next to you and shout, "You've got it!" All right, let's see if we can find another story. Once upon a time, there was a teeny tiny ghost who lived in a teeny tiny house and a teeny tiny tree trunk. Now, one day, this teeny tiny ghost put on her teeny tiny witch hat and went out of her teeny tiny house to take a teeny tiny walk. And when this teeny tiny ghost had gone a teeny tiny way, she came to a teeny tiny gate. So the teeny tiny ghost opened the teeny tiny gate and went into a teeny tiny churchyard. And when this teeny tiny ghost had got into the teeny tiny churchyard, she saw a teeny tiny bone on a teeny tiny grave. And the teeny tiny ghost said to her teeny tiny self, "This teeny tiny bone will make me some teeny tiny soup for my teeny tiny supper." So the teeny tiny ghost put the teeny tiny bone into the teeny tiny pocket and went home to her teeny tiny house. Now when the teeny tiny ghost got home to her teeny tiny house, she was a teeny tiny bit tired. So she went up her teeny tiny stairs to her teeny tiny bed and put her teeny tiny bone into the teeny tiny cupboard. And when this teeny tiny ghost had been to sleep a teeny tiny time, she was awakened by a teeny tiny voice from the teeny tiny cupboard, which said, "Give me my bone." And this teeny tiny ghost was a teeny tiny bit frightened. So she hid her teeny tiny head under the teeny tiny clothes and went to sleep again. And when she had been to sleep again a teeny tiny time, the teeny tiny voice again cried out from the teeny tiny cupboard a teeny tiny bit louder, "Give me my bone!" This made the teeny tiny ghost a teeny tiny more frightened. So she hid her teeny tiny head a teeny tiny further under the teeny tiny clothes. She afraid. And when the teeny tiny ghost had been to sleep again a teeny tiny time, the teeny tiny voice from the teeny tiny cupboard said again a teeny tiny louder, "Give me my bone!" And then the teeny tiny ghost was a teeny tiny bit more frightened, but she put her teeny tiny head out of the teeny tiny clothes and said in her loudest teeny tiny voice, "Take it!" All right, the end. Lily, Libby, Scarlett, and George begged to finish trick-or-treating on their own in the street. Lily, the green witch with spiders and a pointy hat. Libby, the vampire with the scary teeth and a blood-red cape. Scarlett, the pumpkin, her face bright orange. And George, the white creepy ghost with a ripped bedsheet. Mom said yes. All the neighbors wanted to see their costumes, and most of them had plenty of treats. Just our neighbors in our street, though. I'll get the hot dogs ready, so don't be too long, Mom called. And the 4 children went off to see what their neighbors had ready for them. The last house was Miss Sims, and she had plenty as they left. George looked along to the end of their road. Why not try the old house at the edge of the wood? It's creepy enough for Halloween. A waste of time. Nobody lives there. It has been empty for years. Libby shook her vampire head. Ghostly George didn't give up. But tonight, I can see a light in the front window. Maybe somebody moved in. The 4 children all looked down the road. The big dark old house just outside the little wood at the end of their road. Lily squinted. Yes, there is a light in the window, she laughed. Okay, George, we'll give the new people a little Halloween welcome to our street. Why did they feel a bit nervous as they opened old iron gate? The gate creaked and they almost turned back. Sure enough, there was a light and candle in a dirty jam jar in the dusty old downstairs window. Just moved in. Maybe the electricity isn't on yet. Scarlett sounded braver than she felt. The 4 trick-or-treaters stood close together at the front door. There was no bell, just a rusty old knocker covered in spiderwebs. Lily knocked. Bop, 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 bop. The sound of hollow and scary. A face appeared at the window. A thin old lady with straggly white hair. The candle in the jar made her look a little yellow and very old. Happy Halloween, the children mumbled, in voices that now were no longer so sure that this was a good idea. But the old lady smiled a crooked smile and asked, "Who are you? Tell me your names." The children were polite and told their names, wishing the old lady a happy Halloween. All they wanted to do was to run. Apart from the pale yellow candle in the window, all around was pitch black. The trees and the garden looked twisted and strange, and the house even older and more broken down than it seemed from the street. "I have something for you children," the old lady spoke slowly, and the candle flickered. Lily and Libby were holding hands tight. Scarlett and George were gripping each other's elbows. "I have so many apples in my garden," the old lady smiled, but it seemed kind of twisted in the candlelight. "Today I picked a basket full of the best and freshest apples." Her eyes fixed on each one of the children. Her eyes looked right through them. "I hope some children might come to visit me." The children nodded. "Thank you very much," Libby managed to squeak. In front of the door, the old lady lifted a bony finger and pointed out the window. "Yes, thank you. It's very kind of you." Scarlett hardly knew what she was saying. She just wanted to grab that basket and run. "Well, bring back the basket, we promise," George added. But the other three glared at him. Lily spotted at the blanket quite near her feet on the stone doorstep where they had just knocked. "Funny we didn't see them before," she mumbled as she picked up the basket of apples, and the four children turned and ran for the gate. Only George turned around for a moment. The house was dark again. The candle had gone out. Back home, Lily quickly dumped the basket of apples on the kitchen table. Then the children went to the counter for the delicious smelling hot dogs. "I hope you get plenty of treats," Mom smiled. "Loads," Scarlett grinned. And the old lady in the big house at the end of the road gave us a basket of apples, George told her. "But nobody lives in that old house. It has been empty for years." Mom shook her head, and they went out into the patio to toast marshmallows on a small fire and shared out their candy. The next morning, Mom called the children for breakfast. "What on earth were you thinking, leaving that basket of apples on the table? Why?" Lily looked hard at the basket. "Those apples are rotten." Mom pointed at the basket full of worms, and they looked pretty rotten. "The basket crumbles as soon as you even touch it. It's so old." "But it wasn't like that last night," George frowned. "The apples looked fresh, red and green." George stared at the basket. The apples were brown and rotting, moldy with worms and maggots crawling all over, flies buzzing. "They stink." Libby held her nose. In the bin, Mom scooped up the basket and threw it away. "How did that happen?" Scarlett wondered. "Last night they seemed okay." George couldn't let it go. "I have to find out. You can come if you like." He walked to the end of the road. The others followed behind him. The big sign said, "Keep out, dangerous building." A man with a yellow hard hat leaned over the fence. "That sign has been there for weeks. Those walls are dangerous. The stones are unsafe." "What about the old lady who lives here?" George asked. "Nobody lives here, little boy." The man picked up his electric saw and switched it on with a buzz. "We are here to chop down all those old, bent, and broken old apple trees. They are dangerous and rotten, too. You won't find any apples in this garden. George sniffed and wondered why he could smell the sweet, fruity smell of apples. One more?
Yes.
And he made Halloween his favorite day. How?
There's an image in my mind that'll never go away.
Of the 5 young victims, only one survived. Sally Hardesty, who after telling her story to the police, never again spoke of the horrors she saw that day. After hearing Hardesty's account, officials released this composite picture of the killer.
Everybody was terrified.
He is said to have worn a mask made of human skin. However, his true identity remains a mystery. For the next hour, we'll take you on a journey into one of Texas's most famous unsolved murders.
Whatever happened to her? Is she still alive?
She became a ranger here in Texas. She must have looked for that maniac for more than 30, 40 years.
So she found him.
He was wearing a mask. Not easy to locate someone if you don't know what they look like.
Hey, sis, there you are.
Yeah.
Spivey. You're the cook. The chef. We both are. And who else you have in there? Well, this is my future wife.
And my sister back here. Her grandmother was actually from around here. You know, when Harlow's sunflower blooms.
Winter's doomed.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to Harlow.
Shit. Well, what are we gonna do?
Let's just wait for the contract.
What are you doing in our house? Sweetie? Baby, I'm fine. I'm all right. Just go back to your room.
People want the word out. You know, the history.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
This is gonna be great. Yeah. I'm just gonna start setting up. So, okay.
Is she alright?
Yeah, I think the heat is just getting to her a little bit. It's so hot out here. Probably need a little water.
Yeah, it's hot.
How's she doing?
Baby, he's a good boy. That's how it should be. Stay out of my room.
Sheriff, I think she croaked.
The kiddos are asleep. But I thank you for watching this video. Tomorrow is the last day of Vlogtober. I'll see you guys there. Bye.